Hi everyone, and welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Thursday, August 20th, 2026, and this is episode 331. I'm Carol, also known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I live east of Vancouver in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada, where it is hot and sunny and a little bit smoky today. I hope you're all doing well and that you've had a good 10 days since we last chatted. I've been doing not too badly. I'm still trying to get over this cold I've had for the last 3 weeks. I still have a little bit of a phlegmy cough and tickly throat. Cameron's been calling me Barky. Thanks, Cameron. And I've been spending a lot of time indoors because we have had wildfire smoke coming and going over the past little while, both from fires burning here in British Columbia and then also south of the border in Washington State. But that's given me a lot of time to sit inside and knit. And I've been focused entirely on one project. I have not knit on another thing since we last chatted, so I only have one work in progress to talk about today. I have also had some acquisitions arrive in the mail, and I even have one that I should be receiving tomorrow, but I'm going to talk about it today anyway. So, shouldn't be too long of an episode. Even so, you might want to grab yourself something to drink and a project to work on and settle in for a little while. I have water and tea right here. I can feel this tickle in my throat as I've been having to redo this intro a few times. So I'm just going to take a sip of tea and then I'll show you what I've been working on. Today I have the ruby-throated hummingbird on my cup. We don't have those hummingbirds here in British Columbia, but it's a nice cup regardless, and it kind of goes with the project I'm working on. So I thought it was a good cup to choose for today. All right, so last week last episode, I showed you that I had pulled out my blanket of cheer from basically hibernation, and that I'd been putting some borders on 3 squares that I had ready to go. So I did complete that, and then ever since then, all I've been doing is knitting squares for my blanket. So I'm going to show you, I have 3 that are completely finished. I think I had shown you this yarn last episode. So this striped one is under the party tree. And then I misspoke, so maybe I should back up a bit in case you're tuning in for the first time. If you are, hello, welcome. I'm so happy you're here, and I hope you enjoy what you see, and we'll return for future episodes. So back about 3.5 years ago, I started this project, and I misspoke last episode. I said it was all a scrappy project, and that's not entirely true. I was inspired to start this project with some semi-solid minis that I had received as part of an Advent set, holiday countdown collection from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. And I think it was the Art of Color. I'll have to double check that. So I had 24 mini skeins, and I was thinking of some way to put them together in a blanket. And I did purchase the Stitch in Time blanket by Kay Jones, and thought that I might do that. But I was having trouble deciding how to combine the colors, and also I don't think I had enough to complete that project with just the 24 minis. And then I had this idea of combining them with leftovers from my numerous socks that I had knitted out of several bases from Fiber Nymph Dye Works, and that's where the idea started. So I was inspired to do the mitered squares from the Stitch in Time blanket, and I used the number that was in the project as my cast on number. And then I just kind of went rogue after that. I knit my squares the way I like to do them. I had done a mitered square blanket in the past and had the technique sort of down to a T. And so I devised a way to combine them in one square. So I knit the two semi-solid squares first, and then I pick up along the cast on edge of one, knit out from there, and then I flip it around and pick up on the remaining edges and knit out from there. And then I pick up all around the square and do a garter stitch border, increasing every second round in the corner, and I keep one stitch in stockinette there. So I think I told you last episode I couldn't decide if I was going to do 63 or 64 squares, or blocks, I guess you'd call them. 63 would give me a 9x7 configuration, 64 would give me 8x8. So I did lay out some blocks this past week and on the top of my bed, and I determined that a 9x7 would be the best option. And so I will be completing 63 squares altogether. And I've been going so gung-ho, I only have 3 more to knit. Now I have not done the borders on all of the ones I've been knitting this week, but I do have the inner block knit. So I'm going to show all those to you. So this one's completely done, again under the party tree, and then this is also under the party tree. What I love about using the self-striping yarns for these mitered squares is if there are lots of colors in them, you can knit them up and they do not necessarily look like the same colorway. So all of my main mitered squares are the semi-solid ones. They are all in the bounce base, which is an 80-20 superwash merino nylon. And then the stripy ones are a combination of bounce bedazzled, which has stellina in it, and then the mountain tweed BFL, which are what these are. So you can see the tweedy bits in there. So yeah, these are the same colorway. Looks completely different. So I have that one done, and then this is the orange sulfur butterfly colorway. It's part of a yarn and fiber club from a few years ago, and I knit those socks earlier this year. Love how this one turned out. That's the other fun thing, is you can pick and choose within the stripy yarn what colors you want to highlight. So this color actually had a bright orange in it, this colorway, but I decided I wanted to highlight the bright green and just go a little bit softer. So super fun. All right, now I'll just quickly run through the other ones that I've done. So this was chambray, as was this. Again, using different parts of the stripy skein gives it a different effect. And then also when used with different coordinating squares, you get a completely different look. This is swallowtail. The next two are a legacy. This next one is Mid-Atlantic Pub Vibes. This one is Winter Shadows. This mini is a little bit more stripy, a little bit more of a tonal than a semi-solid, or maybe the other way around. I'm not sure. But I had it as part of a mini skein set that I had received from Fiber Nip Dye Works, and so I put it to work. So that's, it's hard to tell in the light. This is like a, oh yeah, you can see that's like more of a dark green. That's a gray or a charcoal. And then with the same semi-solid, this is a serendipitous stripe colorway. And so I think I had actually received it as a prize from participating in a make-along. And so I picked up the orange in that one. And then this is also from that same skein, but combined with this dark brown. So those are all the squares that are already made and just awaiting borders. And then, as I mentioned, I only have 3 more to go. So one of them is going to be this light gray wisp colorway combined with On Frozen Pond. And then the final 2 squares, I'll be using my Ruby Throated Hummingbird colorway, hence the cup. And I will be doing one of the squares with the wisp gray because this colorway was part of a backyard bird watching club. It came with 2 minis. So I'm going to be doing 1 mini with this, and you can see there's some of that color in there. And then this is like a blue-green mix, which I will do, and with that also. So 3 more to go. They're all wound up, ready to go, and so I just can't wait to get all of these done, borders on, and then I can start laying them out and planning which ones are gonna go where, and then I can start sewing them together. I just realized I've got my one in progress sitting right here. This was Lady Cardinal, also part of the Backyard Birdwatchers Club with a medium gray. So as you can see, I've picked up all the stitches for the border. So yes, very exciting, very exciting. As I said, I've had this going for 3.5 years, and it's finally going to be completed. Now, once I finish, I do want to start another scrappy Afghan project. I am seriously considering doing a stitch in time blanket. I have the pattern. I love doing mitered squares, and I'll put a picture up here on the screen of the Afghan, and as you can see, it consists of 12 blocks, and each block contains 9 mitered squares. And the idea of it is that you do 1 a month over the course of a year, and you choose colors for each month that inspire you. So I was thinking about this the other night, lying in bed when I couldn't sleep. Do you do that too? And I thought it might be fun not just to do a square per month, but maybe to make them kind of monochromatic. So maybe for February, it's all reds and pinks. Christmas, red and green. But then I also think of things like March, which to me, because of St. Patrick's Day, can feature green. Because of spring, can feature green and spring flower colors. And then I have, my birthday's in March, and I have a skein of yarn from Hedgehog Fibers that I had knit a pair of birthday socks out of. I think it's called Birthday or Happy Birthday. And I would want to include a square in the block too. So maybe what I'll do is instead just do it in the spirit it was intended, and just pick out 9 different colorways for each month. And they may or may not all be in the same colors. See, kind of a picture. I'm at war with myself, because part of me thinks, wow, like to have a red square and a yellow square and a green square, and I think that would be really striking in different, colorways. So it wouldn't be completely the same color, but it would feature that color. But at the same time, I like the idea of incorporating more than just one color in a square to reflect that time of year. So still up in the air, but I am seriously considering that. And then for other sock yarn leftovers, I'm thinking about another blanket from Kay Jones that I'm sure many of you have seen, which is the Jelly Roll blanket. There's both a crochet and knitted version. I like the look of the knitted version better, but I like the idea of crochet because it goes fast and it uses up more yarn. So I don't know, that's a TBD thing to be determined. But I am starting to think about which scrappy project will come next. I have other types of projects running through my mind, but I haven't settled on any of them yet. And so I'm not going to talk about any other future projects because I still have to figure them out. Although I guess I could talk about one, which is a weaving project. So I have had this project in mind for a while. I purchased a weaving pattern from Sweet Georgia Yarns called Shoreline Checks, and it's designed for a rigid heddle loom, which is what I own, and it uses 4 skeins of yarn, but you get 2 scarves out of the one warp. One is completely checked or like a plaid. The other incorporates plaid at each end and has just a stripy section in the middle. And I have been debating, I have quite a number of skeins of Tough Love sock from Sweet Georgia, and I've been contemplating different combinations for a while. And then they recently had a sale on their yarn, and so I thought that would be a good opportunity to finally figure out what colors I want to do and then purchase anything that I might be lacking. It's hard putting together 4 colors of yarn. I mean, they do have like yarn packs for the pattern, but neither were really what I wanted, and I didn't really want to buy 4 brand new skeins of yarn if I didn't have to. But because, as I said, I do have some Sweet Georgia yarn in my stash, I wanted to use it. What I ended up doing is I've had this skein. I think I got this on one of their mystery bag sales. It's a variegated colorway called Pacific Spirit. So you can see it has brown, a teal, a lighter blue, and some green. And in my stash, I had a green that was similar, and I had this teal, which is also very similar to what was used in this colorway. So this is Fern, and this is Deep Cove. And so I looked on their website to try and find a lighter blue, kind of like that, and then this brown. I wasn't able to find a brown just like this. I think their old color Bison was very similar, but they don't have it anymore. However, I did find Blue Canoe, which is a very good match for this one. And then I bought the closest brown I could find, which is called Rustic. Has a bit more of a red tone to it than this one's more taupey brown. This is more reddish brown. But I think they still look good together. And so this is going to become a, what's it called again? Shoreline Checks scarf or scarves. And I'm imagining on the second scarf, I also could choose a different color and maybe make the other one also checked throughout, but I'm not sure. It's hard enough choosing 4 that go together without trying to make 5 of them match. So chances are I'll just stick to the pattern. And then at the same time, I was looking for some minis and a solid to go together. They have another scarf pattern that I purchased, but I just wasn't prepared to spend that much at this time and just wasn't quite the combination I wanted. So I'm going to put that one on hold. But I did look through, I have several sweater quantities of Tough Love sock. And I have this one called Pine Tree. And I thought it would be fun to look for a coordinating color that I could maybe do a colorwork sweater on. And I ended up choosing Boreal Forest, which goes really well. It's always hard when you're shopping online, but I think those are perfect. And so I'm planning to do a colorwork sweater with those two sometime in the future. Okay, I can feel this tickle in my throat, so hopefully the tea will help settle it. Will help soothe it. Just gotta check the time too. 12:17. Cameron's gonna be home for lunch in about 25 minutes, so I'll see if I can get things wrapped up by then. Speaking of sweaters, I had a web page open on my iPad for probably 2 months before I finally succumbed to temptation and pressed purchase. I don't remember how I came upon the Arcane Fiberworks website, probably via a podcast, but they are a dyer out of Alberta, Canada. And they have the most beautiful website. All of the colorways have inspiration photos, and then the listings contain a photo of the yarn and also a photo of the yarn knit up, which I find so helpful for variegated colorways. So I came across a colorway called Frostborn Hollow, and I'll put a picture up here of the listing. And even though it's not the same type of tree, the red berries against the icy background reminded me of a tree that I had seen in Quebec when we were there earlier this year. And again, it was this red bud against this icy, snowy background. And even though the photos don't do it justice, they just popped and they were beautiful. And this colorway just stayed in my mind. And like I said, I finally succumbed and purchased a sweater's quantity. So I did get 4 skeins because I figured if I had leftovers, I would be very happy to have a pair of socks in this colorway. And then also they show coordinating colorways, and there was one called Wine Time. And I thought, you know what? in case I want to do some sort of coordinating collars and cuffs or and bottom band or something like that, I thought I might as well go ahead and get it so that I don't regret it if I don't. So I have a sweater in mind, but I haven't fully settled on it yet, so I won't talk about it today, but I am looking forward to knitting this up for this winter or fall. And finally, when we went to Fort Langley a couple of weeks ago, I think I mentioned that we went into the Woolly Bulldog, which is quite a new yarn shop there. And I looked around, but I didn't really see anything that caught my eye. I had been hoping that they would have some fiber in stock by now because I know that's something they intend to carry. And I spoke to the owner and mentioned that, and she said, well, Bramble Ridge, who if you've been watching, I have purchased and spun some of their fiber recently. She's partnered with Bramble Ridge, and Bramble Ridge is dyeing both yarn and fiber for her. And she said that she had a custom colorway for their shop dyed up. She just hadn't received it yet. And so I remembered that a few days ago and checked the website, and sure enough, she had a colorway called Heinz 57, which all of her colorways, the line is Bulldog and Bramble, and then all the colorway names have to do with dogs. So this Heinz 57 colorway had all the colors of the Hudson's Bay blankets. And since we had just gone to the old Hudson's Bay Fort Langley with my mom on that trip, on that little day trip, I just thought that would be just the perfect souvenir. It's the only colorway that she had in stock. And so I was going to order it, and then I learned a couple of days ago that my sister, who currently has my mom with her, she's the one who gave me the Christmas present that did the mystery trip. And then we did that a few months ago, and the first stop was Fort Langley. And at the time, she'd also purchased one of these mystery trips for herself. So I knew all the destinations that were suggested, and I knew the first one was Fort Langley. Well, I think it was my mom that mentioned that they were going to be doing it either yesterday or today. And so I thought, well, if they're going to be in Fort Langley, I can get them to pick this fiber up for me. But then I had to be careful because I didn't want to give the surprise away to my sister. So I basically said in a message, I hear you're doing this thing. While you're in your first destination, will you visit this yarn shop and pick something up for me? And then this morning she messaged me because they had opened the envelope and knew where they were headed. So I was able to give her the details of what I wanted. So she has purchased it, and I should get it tomorrow because my mom is going to come stay with us beginning tomorrow. So I'm excited to get that. And I thought I ended up getting 2 braids because I thought I could maybe spin up yarn and be able to make something for my mom and something for me as kind of a souvenir of that day. Maybe even Cameron too, although he doesn't wear tons of woolly things other than socks. And I've ordered, she had it on Polworth and Rambouillet. And by the time I looked this morning, the Polworth was gone. But it had more of a gray background where the Rambouillet is kind of a creamy white like the blankets. And so I was kind of leaning towards that anyway. So anyway, yeah, that's on its way. looking forward to getting that. All right, just a brief life update. So first of all, thank you so much for all of your good wishes, kind words after last episode. As you could tell, it was a very emotional thing for me to talk about, very personal, and we've just spent a lot of time worrying and being curious about how things look in the aftermath of this recent wildfire. Again, if you're new, my mom was back on the 24th of July, was evacuated from her home in Clinton, BC, because of a wildfire. And our extended family also has summer cabins, which are about 17 kilometers west of Clinton. And this wildfire broke out very close to where our cabins are located and took off and caused the evacuation of a large area. Thankfully, amazingly, the village of Clinton itself was saved. I'm sure there are many people to thank for that. I know that the Clinton volunteer firefighters stayed behind. They divided the village into 4 quadrants and patrolled them and put out spot fires. And of course the BC Wildfire Service and all the people they contract to do work. They've been working incredibly hard. They're still working incredibly hard. The wildfire does remain active in the northwest section and the southwest section. And they are conducting some planned ignitions quite close to where our cabins are, just a few kilometers away. And so the good news is that this past Saturday, a good portion, like Clinton itself and a good portion of the outlying area, the evacuation order was downgraded to an evacuation alert. And so people were able to return home. Our cabins and a number of rural properties are still on evacuation order for the foreseeable future until they can control these areas that are still burning. But it looks like they're getting a handle on things. So even though my mom can technically go home, she's choosing to stay down for longer for a few reasons. One is that the water supply is not completely up to its normal standards. So there is water, running water, but there's a boil water advisory. Another thing is that the power was out for over 2 weeks. And so all the food in fridges and freezers was spoiled. And so she opted to buy new appliances. So she did purchase a small freezer and fridge that will go back home with her when she goes. And then she's ordered a full-size fridge that she will have delivered at a later date once she's truly back home and settled. Also, they're still on alert. There is some danger still, and so she will just feel better being here. There are 4 of us that live within a few miles of each other, and she's gone to 2 of my sister's homes, and then, as I said, she's going to come to ours next, and then we'll probably spend the last part of her stay with my final sister. So there, because of the situation with the fridges and freezers, there was an option to have them picked up full of food and taken away for no charge. And we had a couple of different options, but time was of the essence for one of them. And so my husband Cameron and our two sons drove up to my mom's on Sunday, took the fridge and freezers out of her home, put them on the street to be picked up, did a couple other little things like swept up and took some garbage out and watered her plants. She was thrilled to learn that for the most part her plants are fine. She has quite a collection of Christmas and Easter cactuses, and they're stunning. There's one especially that's just huge, and she was just feeling so bad about that. And she also has a number of African violets and has built that collection up over the years. So she was very happy to learn that a lot of her plants were still fine. In any case, Cameron and the boys went up, took care of those jobs, came back the same day, and then they did, we can't go out all the way to where our property is, but they did drive out as far as our friend's home, who sadly lost their home in the fire, and were able to get an up-close look at it. So Cameron took lots of photos and some videos. So it's been hard to look at all the damage outside of town. But in some ways it's preparing us for what we will see in person when we head back up, whenever that is. It's very sobering, but again, we're just so grateful that my mom's place is okay. Got a picture to prove it, which is wonderful. And as of now, our cabins are fine, and just hoping that they can get control of the fire in that vicinity, and that we'll be able to return soon. We are supposed to have been going up for Labor Day weekend and staying the week following for a holiday. We'll just have to wait and see if that happens or not. We're kind of anxious to get up there. We've got fridges and stuff to deal with there too, but so thankful to have home and cabins to return to. I think that is about it. So, can't believe summer is coming to an end. I hope the rest of your summer is, and I guess if you are, again, in the Southern Hemisphere, your winter is coming to an end. So it's those transitional seasons of fall and spring are coming up no matter where you are in the world. And they're my favorite. Spring and fall are my favorite seasons. You don't have the hot weather from the summer and the cold weather in the winter. And we get a lot of rain around here in the winter. And so it's those two extremes. I like the more moderate weather. So I'm looking forward to that. Curling will be starting again in a few weeks, which is, again, just hard to believe. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I hope you are well wherever you are in the world, and thanks so much, as always, for watching. Thank you so much for your lovely comments. They mean a lot. And enjoy your crafting, and not sure when I'll be back with you next. It's going to depend on how long my mom is here and how much crafting I get done in the next couple of weeks. So I do look forward to talking to you then, whenever then is. So take care until then. Hope to see you soon. Bye.